I get a lot of questions about whether one should be a virgin or not. As we all know, that's a very difficult question to answer, right? I think when I'm talking about this, it's more of pure sexual discussion on sex, right? There's no religion involved in this, okay? So we're going to put religion by the side, all right? We're just going to keep it over there. Love the Bible, but we're going to just keep it over there for a second, okay? Actually, for a few minutes. And we're going to focus on just the act of sex. Okay, so when you think about sex, birds do it, we do it, we don't do it, right? That's how we got here. So I think as a young child, we grow up, depending on the environment, on sex being either bad, taboo, or never talked about at all, never addressed, or if you're lucky, you got a family. And I just say lucky, you got a family that will discuss it, answer your questions, right? But that's very rare. Most families don't talk about sex. I was lucky. My mother, Jamaican, still alive. She did engage in some discussions about sex. And so I didn't have that taboo or that fear of sex, even though I respected it. My dad made sure that I respected it. R.I.P. Dad. But sex is really something that is impressionable, right? Whether it's from your parents, your friends, your family members, inadvertently, right? Sometimes they say things you don't even have an idea. The seed is planting in your brain and in your future, for your future. But you've got to be aware that your sexual being, your sexual desires definitely is affected by how you were brought up and the environment you were brought up, right? Like everything is. So just imagine brought up in a family where it was easily talked about. It would be completely different than if we were brought up in a family where it was said, no, you cannot, right? I've heard people say their family said that only, people that have sex go to hell before marriage. But I want us to focus more on, again, taking away the religious aspect and focusing purely on why sex even exists, right? So we have two main reasons. One, procreation, we know that. Two, pleasure, okay? A lot of animals, of course, have sex. And when they do they think of it in the terms of the light that we do? And that's what we think, and we enjoy, and we plan, and we really do put a great effort into creating exotic experiences for those that like to do that. But for those that don't have the ability to create, or those that don't have the desire to elevate that experience, it's something that we actually have to either learn if we want to, ignore. And again, to each their own. This is your decision. I'm just having a discussion regarding my personal experience in my medical work, where I've had people to me ask me that question: should they abstain? Should they be a virgin until marriage? Right? Men and women. Okay, it is different. Of course, we know that for men, many don't have the talks that we get, women, right? But it still does affect them, especially now, right? Male virginity is on the rise, and I think it's plateaued right now, but it tends to be much higher now than it was years ago. So the question is why? And there are several reasons, but I'm going to focus mostly on the medical reason, right? Testosterone levels are lower now than they've ever been, okay? And they say it actually goes down every year. Well, let's say every few years, okay? And this is in men. They haven't had women, but in men, the testosterone level goes down. And because it's going down, that desire is going to go down with it, okay? Not to make this about religion at all, but they do say that when you go to church, your testosterone level also drops in church, and then when you come back out of church, your testosterone level comes back up. Isn't that interesting? But of course, that is the brain. The brain is able to know when you need testosterone and when you don't. Okay. When you are thinking sex, men have their levels of, again, testosterone is like 800, 600, 700, 800. Some people 1,000 total testosterone. And in women, we're just, if we can get to 40, we're lucky. That's our level, right? That's the max. And a lot of us don't even get halfway through in terms of, and men too. But again, you're learning whether you have that desire to um, abstain or not. Why? You are going to feel hormonally stimulated or elevated puberty, right? You'll find that some people are more sexual than others, right? So the question now is, are you someone that is not interested in sex? Or are you someone that's so interested in sex, very interested in sex? And I'm going to bring you back to that spectrum that I talked about yesterday, that spectrum of, you can put anything on my spectrum right here, on that one, the hypersexual and the asexual, right? Where do you fall? And there are different categories where you can fall. And it doesn't matter. Nothing wrong, nothing's, it's just that you need to know where you are so that you can, if you want, move it this way or move it this way. It all depends on where you are, right? You can actually influence it. But you have to be aware of the information that was implanted in your brain as a child. You gotta erase it. Okay? Now, you erase it if it's you. If it's not hurting you, you don't erase it. But how do you know whether it's hurting you or not? Again, my patients come to me and say that they want to be a virgin because either their parents told them to be, or they're scared of men because men are bad, or I can flip it around again, are told to watch out for women, so they tend to be more hesitant, again, for religious reasons and for parental upbringing, right? So you have to first of all go back in your family and find out what influenced you sexually. You've got to analyze it. Was it your siblings, friends, peers, teachers? Did you have any experiences that you know you should not have had? Or did you have experiences that you really did have and you really enjoyed? Again, that is going to make your experience of sex in the future great, not so great, or bad, right? So how do you influence it? You've got to, of course, go for counseling. I'm big into counseling. We all need counseling. But you have to do some research. You have to learn about yourself and open up doors that you probably would not otherwise open up to learn about you. You have embedded certain facts that may not be facts. Okay? So they say that men love virgins, right? And we all know that that is absolutely not true. There are men that do love virgins, and there are men that don't care, and there are men that either way goes, right? And there are men that run away from virgins, right? Women, the same thing, right? There are women that love men that are naive. There are women that do not like men that are naive, and there are women that like men that experience that are older, generally, because they want to be taught, they want to learn, right? Again, this all depends on you. So, as a virgin, you have to decide, of course, how high your fear of sex is, why you have a fear of sex, or why are you abstaining? Why are you saying that I'm not going to have sex? Is it because my mama said it? My dad said it, right? Did they abstain? Did they have sex at a certain age? Did you ask? When you ask, they might not answer. They don't answer, you can come to your own conclusion. But the truth is, they too were taught by their parents, and they were taught by theirs. They were all taught things that they didn't really know much about. But now, in our age, with the millennium, right, with all the digital technology that we have and all the knowledge that we have more information at our hands. So we do know that sex is primal, right? We've got to have sex. We're going to get that urge to have sex. Those that control it, kudos to you, right? And it is important to have some level of control. But the question is, what is that? What is natural? What is normal? All right, so I'm not going to define that for you. You have to define that for yourself. I'm going to help you so that you can actually understand you, right? Which is I'm very big into. All right. So again, let's go to that spectrum. Over here, we have the person that has sex all the time, the nymphomaniac. Then over here, we have the person that's the asexual. Sex doesn't believe in sex, just might have sex because I need a new pair of shoes, or I want to go to a party and have some fun. I'll just do it. Asexual. They don't have that urge to have sex, and people are born like that again for reasons. Okay, genetics is always number one, and the environmental factors, including hormones, is number one. It's other reasons, but right now, to make it simple, we have the asexual that doesn't believe in having sex, and they have conferences and they have fun, right? They just don't get turned on at all. We have the hypersexual that, or the nymphomaniac that has a lot of burning desires for sexual encounters, right? Gotta be careful. Always safe sex. Always use a condom. Get tested, right? So when you have that range, in between, you're going to find you've got people that are in that spectrum, right? So smack in the middle, I like to call the person. I'm going to say normal. I do not like to use that word normal, but that person that will say, I want to have sex today, and they will have sex today. Okay? So that's that middle way, right? Well, we have the other two at the extremes. So the question is, where are you? Are you in the middle? That you say, you know what? Today's the day. I'm going to have some sex. You go out on the hunt and you find someone and you have sex, protected sex. And then those are the urges that you satisfy, and then you come back and you're fine and you go back, go about your business, right? Back to what you normally do without any guilt, without any shame. That is what I'm going to call normal. Only because that person is healthy and says, you know what? I on a particular day. Now, it's not something you do all the time, right? It's just that when you have that need, which means your hormones are coming up, and you say, you know what, it's about time now to go and have some, healthy, protected, adult consenting fun. And you choose to do it, and you can do it. Now, we all know not everyone can do that, right? We've heard about the incels. I'm not going to talk about incels today, except to say that there are reasons why they are incels. Numerous reasons. And I truly believe that an incel needs to reach out for help, check your hormone levels, and we can actually modify their experiences as long as they're getting proper evaluations psychologically and physically and hormonally, right? So when that person is not interested in having sex, you have to understand where they're coming from, right? So when that person is interested in having sex, that person probably had more of a normal, I'm going to say normally, more of an upbringing where sex was not taboo. Okay? So when you are able to decide when you have sex, that is then that parameter in the middle here. When you are in between liking to have sex, knowing when to have sex, and being hypersexual, then you start going into the being a little bit more demanding in terms of sex and being a little bit more risk-taking, taking a little bit more risks. While on the other side, you have the demisexual, the person that says, I'm not going to have sex until I'm in a relationship, right? I've got to be with a guy that I like, and then I'll have sex. Otherwise, I'm not going to have sex because I don't connect with the person, and I only connect sexually with people that I like or I find something in common with. Now, that is not too far from normal, but it is still on the side of the asexual, going more towards I'm a little bit scared, I'm a little bit more cautious when having sex. And again, that's okay. Nothing is wrong, nothing is right, or nothing is correct, and nothing is fail, right? So when you have that ability to know, okay, when I'm in a relationship, I'll have sex versus a stranger, right? That's okay. And the person that does have sex with a stranger, am I going to say that's okay? Absolutely, as long as it's healthy, protected, consenting. right? You should get them tested always, but it's the choice of the person, and you're not hurting anybody. That is huge for me. You do not hurt anybody. Hurting is the crime for me. That's why I'm in this outfit, right? You hurt someone when you're deciding to have sex. That's where I want to lock you up. Okay? Can I lock you up? No, but you lock yourself up. Okay? I'll make sure in your mind you lock yourself up because I want you to know that you do not cause pain, do not cause hurt. Your intention should be to elevate, right? The forces of life, right? We're supposed to elevate and help one another be better human beings. So when you're engaging in sex, be as honest as you can and be straight and let the person know where you're coming from so that there's no confusion. So that demisexual person, you can now take it a step further, semi-sexual, and just keep on going towards the asexual. But again, can you change it? You know, some people believe you cannot. And I truly believe that it depends on the person. I always believe you want to change something, you can. Okay? But you have to be aware of the fact that when you are along the spectrum, that can explain whether you are going to say, no, I'm not going to have sex, or I'm going to have sex. I'm going to wait for 90 days, 30 days, 2 days, 1 day, no days, right? That's going to depend on so many factors, right? The attraction you have for your partner, or the fact that you're in heat, right? When you're in heat, it's really hard to control. But you probably know that already, right? Again, this is for adults, no children allowed in this discussion. But I want you, first of all, to understand that you've got to dig into your history to find out why you have that feeling of not wanting to have sex. It could be a harmful thought that was implanted in your brain. Okay, I'm going to say it again. If you have a fear of sex, that is wrong. Okay, I know it was ingrained in us, but you've got to know that that was wrong because they didn't know. Okay, so you now know to get yourself educated about sex, learn about sex. I'm planning to have some online classes so that we can get down to the nitty gritty about what sex is about and learn about the not only the anatomy but the physiology and how it really works for those that are interested. But you're going to find that you need to understand sex and know that it is absolutely natural and absolutely normal to have urges of sex. Now, when you go outside the urges of sex into hypersexual or asexual, it is up to you to decide to get help to bring it a little bit more into a central experience where you're not feeling that you're going to an extreme. Okay, it's up to you. If you decide not to, that's your decision. As long as you're not hurting anybody, I'm not gonna hurt. I'm not gonna be against you. But I want you to know, do not hurt anybody, right? So just as long as you're with other people like you or people that are willing to participate, please understand there is no sense in hurting other people if you're going to be hypersexual or asexual, right? Just be honest. So that virgin that is saying she or he does not want to have sex, I'm going to speak to you directly and say, analyze the reason. Do not use the reason that someone's told you. Dig into it. Understand you. Find out whether you want to or not. You don't want to. And if you don't want to, don't until you're ready. If you're never ready, I've got some, elder virgins in their 70s that never ever had sex, and unfortunately, a lot of them lose that ability to have sex. Meaning, I'm not going to say it's closed up, but it's basically turned off, right? And when it's turned off, I think people then tend to turn off the mind and everything regarding sex. So if you do not, participate in sexual experiences, whether it's heavy petting or flirting, or if you don't feel yourself getting aroused, please seek out a doctor. Find out why. Again, there may be no reason, but most likely there's a reason. You got to find a doctor that really does know about measure hormone levels, right? The hormones are very important. So, what are your hormone levels? It always comes back to that. I circle back to that. What are your hormone levels, right? Again, you've got to know someone that knows how to measure hormone levels. Because one day we'll talk about it, what particular levels you need to ask when you measure your hormone levels. But what I do want you to do is find out what your reason is, okay? Because there is definitely a reason why you're not having sex for now. And hopefully in the future that will change. And along that process of change and growth, right, you'll have a lot of questions that I hope I can answer. But for now, I want you to know it's not bad to be a male virgin. It's not bad to be a female virgin. But I don't want you to be that forever, right? And when you do decide not to be, want it to be the most pleasurable experience that you can imagine, which is that orgasm, right? Experiencing that orgasm, right? Which is pleasure and might be pain initially, but eventually all pleasure, okay? All right, enough about that today. I will sign off and see you guys tomorrow, Friday. And soon I'm going to start, having you guys ask questions. I'm going to have you guys call in and ask some questions. And let's see whether we can help some people have a better sexual experience in life, okay? Okay, guys. Ciao. Bye.